एक धंधा और एक स्टार्टअप में डिफरेंस है.
Meet Ashish Mittal, a seasoned industry leader and chief mentor for countless startups. With 26 years of leadership at global tech giants like Google and Microsoft. On Zero to One with Ashish Mittal, he'll take you behind the scenes of India's startup ecosystem, break the biggest myths about Indian startups, and share invaluable lessons to transform your idea into the next big thing.
Any startup founder who stayed more than 3 years, he made it happen. Friends turning co-founders and then separating too. We Indians have cultural जगह यार बहुत बढ़िया कर रहा है यार. ये तो next a unicorn है. The choice between going with India A versus India B. A lot of people say a startup should be profitable from day one. सच्चाई है कि I think most of the times I've seen people losing with the plan being saying going back to a regular day job or getting affected by external force. Funding is a spiral. It's difficult to get into that spiral. And once you get into it, you cannot come out of it. I've seen marriage biodata which says first startup got funded in 18 months. कोई founder अमीर नहीं बनता fundraising के बाद. Imagine you have another 100, 200, 500 people and their families who are actually dependent on your fundraising capability. So it's a quite an tricky situation. You spend probably 2 hours with your wife every day after you head back home, but here you're spending 10 hours with your co-founder. It's like going back and writing ChatGPT saying that I'm demotivated today. Can you help? Trust me, AI is not going to take any job.
If a company is ex-Shark Tank, do you think that is a metric that VCs look for? Like,
honestly speaking,
so we have discussed the first part of the entire thing, which was basically how do you scale your venture from 0 to 1, and वहाँ पे इतना सारा sort of myth busting करा है अपने के I'll need some time to digest that. But for ventures and companies who are looking to scale in India, how do they even begin? Like, what does that entail?
I think if you ask me, we are at a point where probably the best well-positioned globally for businesses to scale, whether it's disruptive innovations in the B2B space or whether it's disruptive in consumer space, being the largest consumer economy in the world, and with that increasing day after day, month on month, I think huge opportunity there.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I think oftentimes you believe that by hiring someone local representative, you started an office in India and that's it. I think my belief is engage with someone who is local, understand the market, do some bit of a market research, spend some time, 3-6 months doing a market research from the product market fit. Is there any localization required for your market, for India specific market? Do some initial penetration, identify set of people who can be a go-to market channels, get some market feedback, pivot, refine, improvise your product service offering, and then build on a scale model. Okay, those are the kind of models. So it's not a 2-month journey, which it's probably a year and a half to 2 years journey with 3-6 months milestones coming in the way. But the good news is we've done that for multiple startups across the ecosystem, across geos, from enterprise SaaS to the consumer products. Been very successful. Okay. I think one of the most important piece in the puzzle is how do I head start that adoption? That is where you really need network of people. So do you have connects with the distribution channel if it's a consumer product? Okay. Or do you have connects with the large enterprises if it's an enterprise SaaS offering? Can I take you to 50 partners who can take your offering to the end customers if it's an IT offering, technology offering to test it out? And at a fairly contained cost, you can experiment, refine, improvise, and create a very strong product market fit for this part of the world. And not limited to India, at least Asia at large. I've seen Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, amazing developing economies from consumption standpoint, and not limited to consumers only or consumer offerings also, but also for enterprise businesses, for enterprise offerings. There's huge consumption that's happening in that space.
So, for foreign companies which are looking to scale in India, do they need to understand like the cultural nuances of the space?
Absolutely. I think that is where you really need to have some local experts, okay, who can represent, not only give you guidance in terms of the product market fit, but also and become your extended team. I'm using the word extended team, not as franchisees. They become your extended team to get you product market fit feedback local. Take examples of the food chains like KFCs and McDonald's. They have to localize their product offerings.
Yeah.
Aloo tikki burger. Have you ever heard of that globally? Or KFC searching have a veggies dishes on their menu.
वही
These are
मैं
all localized offerings.
बाहर जब मैं गया तो मैं रियलाइज करे 99% of the menu has beef
Correct.
उसमें.
So I think this is what we call as the PMF for Indian market. There's certain level of localization required, whether it is it's an actual product or whether it's a technology product. So it's important you hire someone who helps you navigate that ecosystem, who helps you with the regulatory framework, who helps you get the market feedback, who helps you create the distribution channel. And we have done multiple such projects, engagements in past where we've helped startups, global startups, global scale-ups who have engaged and scaled in these markets.
What about Indian companies trying to scale in the West?
I think very, very interesting question. In fact, we've done a few of them where we took some Indian companies. So starting for identifying the what geos you want to do. You don't want to go global at one go. Okay, you want to pick and choose what would be the ideal markets for me, considering my offering. Where is my audience sitting? I have a product market fit? So we've helped such companies in identifying the right geos to first reach out, then helping with the local representation in those geos, getting the product market fit. Just like the global companies to India. So
Yeah,
basically,
so same.
similarly, we call as soft landing products. So can we help them soft land in US or soft land in European markets, on Asia Pacific markets? So a lot of Indian markets. I think it goes without saying about price parity, and especially for enterprise SaaS offering. There's a huge market uptake there. There is a clear white space if you're trying to solve problems, whether you list on the marketplaces if it's a technology business, or whether you create an ecosystem who are taking a product offering. But clearly, there's a large upside in global markets of what you're selling in Indian rupees versus you're selling in US dollars.
What markets should Indian companies prefer right now
I
initially?
think it depends basis the product, but I think Americas have been a very interesting market for technology products, and I see a lot of enterprise SaaS offering or even smaller technology products being created to service that market. So I think that's an interesting market. While European market is very nice, but it's fragmented, and then there are multilingual challenges. Asia again comes later because of language differences and challenges, but I think English-speaking countries are very low-hanging fruits from the go-to-market standpoint.
So, what sort of sectors are you bullish अभी in India? आपको क्या लगता है कहाँ पे धंधा बन सकता है या eventually एक हॉकी स्टिक ग्रोथ दिख सकती है इंडियन स्टार्टअप्स में?
I think this is an interesting question. I think domain is more than the domain, it's the horizontal solutions. I think enablers is what people are focusing on. Can I create enablers which are cross domain, okay, which have huge opportunity, small white space being addressed? Can I create a horizontal CRM which can be customized? Because once you go industry specific, then you are going too niche, too deep. But having said that, I think कुछ areas है जो fintech being clearly one of them. Things like UPI becoming getting democratized. I think there's a lot you can build on those backbones, which are government funded platforms, so to say. ONDC में आप देख ही रहे हो. I think those are the large platform play, because now the government thinks that you can build lot on those as applications which can be consumed by the Indian audience. This is from the Indian
Yeah.
context standpoint. I think healthcare is again anything where government is actually bringing enabler platforms.
Yeah.
Ayushman Bharat, classic example. The platform is there now. You can how is that you can leverage and create lot of consumable applications because वो platform तो कोई यूज नहीं करेगा ना जब तक ONDC बन गया लेकिन हाँ अगर उस पर कुछ consumable applications नहीं create करेंगे which are become everyday's use then it's of no use. So I think those fintech is a classic example. Health tech is another interesting space to venture in. I think both are a massive opportunity. We are a credit starved nation, so lending बहुत बड़ी
Lending
opportunity है मेरे को लगता है. और lending को कितना ease out कर सकते हैं हम लोग. और lending के साथ a lot of AI play nowadays is becoming very very important. Can I do underwriting, insurance? Some of those capability will become very very. So जितना friction less करेंगे using tech. Or if we coming back to relating back to your India A India versus India B question, if you marry this two with the bottom of the pyramid, boom, that's the answer. I think that's a huge opportunity.
So if I compare a venture like Turning Ideas and compare it to a YC West में क्या core differences हैं?
अच्छा
Clickbaity सवाल पूछा मैंने.
ये YC versus Indian incubator. I'll put it larger ecosystem because I don't want to put specifics there. I think we are starved. Indian ecosystem में I think incubator के लिए कोई mechanism ही नहीं है पैसा बनाने का. So we started calling ourselves incubator because that looks sexier than the co-working. Because people used to say अरे यार co-working में क्या वो तो desk ही देते हैं ना. तो a lot of co-working change their names and say start saying हम लोग अब incubator हो गए. Because सर आप क्या देते हो? हाँ सर हम उसके साथ स्पेस भी देते हैं, उसके साथ AWS के क्रेडिट्स और Azure के क्रेडिट्स भी देते हैं. तो सर बट वो तो हमें ऑनलाइन भी मिल जाते हैं सर. नहीं बट हम इंक्यूबेटर हैं एंड वी कैन हेल्प यू इनरोल इनटू स्टार्टअप इंडिया. सर वो तो हम भी ऑनलाइन कर सकते हैं. नहीं बट हम इंक्यूबेटर हैं. बट few years later the incubator started realizing how am I going to make money? There is no mechanism because I don't fund startups. Okay, they pay me like a piddly amount for using my space, and often I have to let go of that even, and I take very small equity into the business, and 6 months later they'd shut down the shop and disappear because I have not helped them. So quite unlike the Western ecosystem and specifics like YC, okay, YC puts in not only their mentoring support, the huge mentoring engine. By putting the skin in the game, they put in capital and they take substantial equity in return. So they're taking all the ingredients to your success. I'm giving you right minds and brains and support to make sure that you're successful. I'm giving you small capital for you to head start. And by the way, I have the skin in the game because I'm taking equity into the business.
Which is fair. Huh?
Yeah, so unfortunate. Accelerators still there, but incubators in India, you're better off taking a space where you can meet like-minded people. But today the engine is not that well oiled, so to say, unless the government comes in and gives in capital disbursement opportunities to incubators, and we create a very strong mentoring ecosystem. By the way, the most glamorous titles on LinkedIn are Startup Mentor. Okay, but when you ask them, hey, yes, I met them 6 months back and I gave them advice about how should you do sales. So I told them, you should get your product right, then it'll sell. Because
generic.
Because I'm in industry for 20 years. And then you update your title as Startup Mentor. So it's an irony, but yeah, that's what it is.
मेरे ऐसे बहुत सारे जो पुराने फंडे हैं वो ऐसे ब्रेक कर रहे हो आप. Which leads me to another question जो अभी बहुत sort of चल रहा है popular culture में is AI and solopreneurship. Do you think a future जहाँ पे a single person startup can be like $1 billion thing?
It's like marrying a technology.
Yeah.
I don't believe in solo founders, to be honest. I've never bet on it. because startup journey, and especially early stage, is very taxing on your health, brain, motivation. You need to get motivated every single day.
Yeah.
It's like going back and writing chat GPT saying that I'm demotivated today. Can you help? There's no way they can help you. So tech can do the enablement, but tech cannot be your co-founder.
That's
So
a clickbaity
yeah,
statement, I
tech
think.
cannot be a co-founder for sure. All those people who think that AI will change the world and they will create some. I have the great technology. What else? I just create some great solutions. What sells is solution to a problem, not the technology. One of my employers, in fact, two of my employers, I don't want to go into specific names for all the due respect, were very different. Last two employers where I worked. Um, so one of the employer founders, so he said, "Hey, where do you come from?" I said, I was in Mountain View, uh, America. So uh, he said, "Where do you come from?" I said, "I come from India." He said, "What do you do?" I said, "I do sales." He said, "Why do we need sales?" Because we create world class technologies. People should swipe their credit cards. I said, "Doesn't work like that in that part of the world. You really need people to go convince saying that." He said, "Where did you come from?" I said, "Come from an X organization." Ah, they create shitty products. So they need world class sales. So I think coming back to your questions about solopreneurs and AI, I think tech is an enabler, but tech cannot be a co-founder for sure. So I still strongly believe you really need warm bodies to work together to make it happen.
AI
Technology
वाले
will be.
चीज में ही I want your predictions. जो अभी sort of there are so many creators out there who are constantly saying AI will take this job, that job, ये हो जाएगा वो
AI is
जाएगा.
not taking any jobs. Trust me, AI is not going to take any job. But you got to be. AI is going to force you to think out of the box. So how do you write from content create? I think creators economy is most affected, if you
Yeah.
ask me, because they were the first ones to get
Yeah.
affected as the engines becoming smarter. But whether you called about the India being a developer hub globally, have you seen any large global system integrated downsizing saying that, hey, I'm going to let go of 100,000 people because now I've got AI?
There's some news which float
Yeah,
कि they've let go of 5,000 people, 2,000 people. That might
but
be for other reasons.
those news have been there before AI too.
Yeah.
But now you're trying to attribute that to AI. That's not the case. There's a very interesting saying AI will prepare you for the jobs that don't exist today. And if you are okay, if you are agile enough to keep pivoting, not only just like we used to pivot a technology or solution, now you need to pivot yourself.
Yeah.
Saying that you want to learn this, then you will be always useful in the context.
So are like VCs looking for founders who are like updated on what is happening in AI? Who you see that is that a criteria right now? Ki, is this guy agile?
So typically, all the pitches that I get, even if it is selling potatoes online, there's some AI component in it. So
Potato.ai.
potato.ai. So the good news is everybody's trying to put in some LLM models and AI flavor to it. But trust me, the community which I represent, and largely investors are not saying that okay, this piece does this opportunity does not have AI, so I don't want to look into it seriously. That's not the case. So if AI really helps uh, in augmenting what you're trying to do, then you should include it. But uh, AI, I would say that don't try solving every problem using AI.
One of our co-founders at Munchable, he wanted to ask you this question specifically, and
Sure.
I'll also read it out यहाँ से.
Uh-huh.
That how does US Fed rate decisions now impact the liquidity here in Indian startups? Can you give a prediction?
Well, I think this is an interesting question. I don't know how to answer this, but indeed we have an impact.
Hmm.
I think it's just like any other liquidity, you know. It's like I'll do a comparison. Imagine your father gets a bonus at home.
Hmm.
You have more liquid at home. The cash available probably for your pocket money is more,
Yeah.
and you spend more. Okay. Similarly, most of our funds, uh, whether it's domestic or global funds or institutional or angels, have a large effect on global decision making. Okay. If the interest rates go up, the capital get right because there are better opportunities and alternate investment. It's a business.
Hmm.
So why should I park money elsewhere? And there is a liquidity challenged in the ecosystem here. So there is a clear impact. Whether it's visible immediately or whether it's period of time, it varies. But in long term, any such movement which makes global economies more lucrative certainly has an
Hmm.
impact.
That really solves my conundrum वहाँ पे कि exactly if you marry the
Yeah, I
both of
think
them,
that's
then
a huge,
that's the
huge,
actual solution.
correct. मिस्ड कॉल से मैं क्या लैंडिंग देखवाऊंगा.
Hmm.
Understanding his buying pattern of what he consumes, can I lend him 20 rupees recharge using a missed call or a
Yeah.
50 rupees? That's the huge opportunity because my exposure versus the audience is huge.
This is a personal question that I wanted to ask because we are venturing into a similar domain with Munchable. What do you think about doing of service business in India and the
I,
scope there?
yeah, I think services, India has been a services nation.
Hmm.
We have all our product offering led through services. Some of the finest services organization came out of India, like Infosys and others. With all due respect, it's not a very scalable
Hmm.
business. Okay, so there's a term called. So there are two terms. There's something called DLGs, which is called delivery-led growth,
Hmm.
and there's something called PLGs, which is called product-led growth. So more of DLGs, delivery-led growth, which is saying that I will put in 100 more people, I get X growth.
Yeah.
Okay, are moving and transitioning to product-led growth. Can I empower my customers, create assets, solutions, offerings, which enabled through my services can actually give them a growth
Hmm.
or solve the problems, which is a great, interesting example. So, uh, my advice for something like
Hmm.
Munchable would be certainly saying that can you create reusable IPs
Hmm.
which compresses the services capability, but it is empowered or enabled using your Munchable
Yeah.
services wrapped with them. Then it's a very strong offering.
So there has to
But
be a product
it
part.
cannot be
Huh.
only warm body.
Huh.
Okay, so it has to be a technology plus a delivery
Yeah.
mix.
That's the unique space there, hybrid sort of a space.
Correct, correct, correct.
ये तो हो गया हम मोस्टली शहरी लोगों की बात करें पीपल हु अंडरस्टैंड बैंगलोर हु अंडरस्टैंड द स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम ऑल ऑफ दैट then there are a new sort of set of founders that are coming up which are people who are building in tier 2 tier 3 cities. Do you think there exists a gap, like do startup founders need to relocate to a place like Bangalore to see the original picture, or can they do it in the tier 2 city?
बहुत बहुत sensitive topic touch कर दिया because I think I have goosebumps on my head because I one of my visions is I'm looking to run this program called Super 30,
Oh.
which was the objective was to pick up 30 founders, and whoever is listening this can reach out to me from tier 3 cities, tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and take him to the global stage.
Hmm.
I want to see them in New York City on the stage, working with some VCs or investors community. And anything in that journey is I'm going to be mentoring them without any sweat equity, without anything. So this is what I want to share. Why? What's the reason behind it? I've been jury to a lot of such events uh,
Yeah.
in tier 2, tier 3 colleges, student entrepreneurs, multiple other such events, startup events. There's so much talent there. First, they face these problems day in, day out.
तो एम्पैथाइज वाला पार्ट
तो
ऑलरेडी
एम्पैथी
है।
बहुत
हाँ,
ज़बरदस्त है उनकी, बहुत डीप है, और उनको लगता है हमने नहीं सॉल्व करी तो
कौन करेगा।
कौन
हाँ,
करेगा।
हाँ,
ठीक है, हम लोग वी आर नॉट इवन अ टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग विद बैंगलोर, दिल्ली, मुंबई। ग्रिट और हंगर बहुत ज़बरदस्त है
हम्म,
उनके लिए यार। जिसका पूरे घर का खर्चा 20,000 है ना, उसको कोई ईएमआई का टेंशन नहीं है।
हम्म, नथिंग टू लूज
दे
देयर।
हैव नथिंग टू
हाँ,
लूज, एंड यू विल बी अमेज्ड टू सी द काइंड ऑफ सॉल्यूशंस दे हैव क्रिएटेड। वो देसी जुगाड़ जो हमसे बोलते हैं ना,
हाँ,
they have created solutions to real problems. Now how is that you can industrialize that jugaad to something which is more replicable, more process? उनको process नहीं पता,
हाँ,
but they solve the problem. So मेरे को तो लगता है बहुत बड़ी opportunity है. India is the nation. If I say that if we create an ecosystem to help those entrepreneurs slash founders in tier 3 cities or tier 2 cities, आप देख ही रहे हो जयपुर, इंदौर,
हाँ,
चंडीगढ़, these are coming up, but outside of that, टाटा नगर, रांची, those small cities, यार ऐसे ऐसे शहर हैं, you will be amazed to see the kind of talent there is, because for them it's do or die.
yeah.
They will have to make it work.
वो इनिशियल सीड ऑलरेडी
आप
है।
you will be surprised by the kind of work they do listed on marketplace and getting amazing burn. उनको अगर कोई एक हैड होल्डिंग कोई, एंड दिस इज फॉर ऑल द मेंटर्स आउट देयर, बहुत, it's a supply demand. There's a massive demand up there where you can really make an impact. Here you have a lot of mentors and they're handful of founders, but there are founders who are looking. The government of India does once in a year something called a startup yatra.
हाँ,
उसमें क्या ही impact कर लेंगे यार. But what I'm trying to tell is you will have to be there to feel it. और वही है इंडिया बी,
हाँ, जो हम
वो
बोलते हैं।
स्टोरी है और वो बड़ी स्टोरी है.
हाँ,
आज नहीं तो कल जो सॉल्व करेगा, it is the kind of satisfaction you go get when you are about to sleep, saying that yes, I made an impact to a family. It's
yeah.
huge.
So there the metric is impact.
Metric is impact, and impact money follows impact.
Hmm.
There are people who are globally looking at it saying, okay, they are large social impact fund. You'll be amazed to see the venture impact funds like Villagro and others, you know, who are always on the lookout for large impact stories, and they're ready to fund this. The government is running after that. You know, there's a very interesting startup which I was mentoring. Because of the COVID, there was a lot of brain drain or labor drain that happened. Okay, so everybody wanted a job very close to their home location. Startup called Bharat Shramik. Now this company created a very simple blue collar solution, blue collar hiring solution. Imagine like a Naukri for your driver or your maid or a delivery boy.
Well, people say India B here.
Yeah, India B story, and it's as good as you. All you do need to do is you need to do a missed call. You call a number. It's a simple call number. No data required. Okay. It says it's available in 10 languages. It says what kind of job you're looking for. Driver, maid, delivery boy. किस तरह की नौकरी ढूंढ रहे हो आप. एंटर योर पिन कोड, जो भी आपका होम टाउन है, कहाँ नौकरी ढूंढ रहे हो, 110092, एंड देन इट प्लॉट्स द टैलेंट अवेलेबिलिटी अक्रॉस द नेशन.
Oh, great.
कि मुझे बिहार में इस समय 500 कारपेंटर अवेलेबल है, एंड देन यू गिव इट टू LNT, पीपल लाइक LNT, सेइंग दैट आप बिहार में एक प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, मैं आपको 500 कारपेंटर दे सकता हूँ वहाँ पे.
तो मास हायरिंग सॉल्व हो गया.
So basically then you involve an NGO in between to validate whether these guys are really available. So the NGOs can create an impact, these guys get a job, and these guys get a Shramik card, and LNT gets, you know, people at a lower cost, all concentrated well.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win for everybody. So these kind of solutions, if scaled well, they can create a massive impact.
There has been a discussion about women entrepreneurship and the sort of gap which exists there. How do you see that progressing?
In last decade or so, when I've been into the ecosystem, I've seen more women participation in last few years.
Gap in terms of the representation.
हाँ, अभी तो
हाँ.
बहुत कम है. We're not even there yet. So, but I think मेरे को लगता है, I think with all due respect to my lot of male founders, but the female founders have larger great motivation, and they stick for a longer duration. And if you stick for a longer duration, as rightly started,
Yeah. Chances
your
of win.
chances of success are very, very high. So there's a lot you can do in that space, but strongly believe any women founders who is looking for support in scaling, happy to help. But there is clearly a large need. An ideal combination I've seen in co-founding teams is
It's a male and
a male and a female, because then that kind of works very well to balance it out. But I think there's a far more female representation which is required in the ecosystem.
Got it. So I think we have almost covered all of the initial ideas or insights or questions I had regarding scaling 0 to 1 in India, and also how does Indian businesses scale then from a 1 to 10 and go for global markets. We'll continue that conversation iske baad bhi. Just to ask you a final question, and this is my most sort of clickbaity question, so I reserved it for the last. Uh, do platforms like Shark Tank, you know where I'm going with it. So do platforms like Shark Tank, and if like there is a validation want there, do you think that is a metric that VCs look for? Like if a company is ex Shark Tank, do you think that matters here? Other than obviously the D2C players, because it directly impacts their business.
Okay, let me ask you back there. How old is Shark Tank in India?
It's almost, I think, 3 years. 3 years.
Did the ecosystem survived and scaled, and the VCs picked up the right bets before that?
Yes, 100%.
So you got the answer. So yeah, I think it's like which shelf you are placed to get the attention.
Like, does it help?
Honestly speaking, for me that is more of entertainment than business. So if you think that your startup is doing something which is more entertaining and which can drive attention, then certainly that could be a potential platform for you. But it's a quick mechanism to do large audience reach. Nothing beyond that.
So it's a 101 PR.
I don't think it's a validation whether you get through to Shark Tank is a validation of what good work or bad work you do. So I think clearly that is no more a validation. There's a lot of good work being happened, and they don't even apply for Shark Tank. So, but again, it's a global entertainment format for the entrepreneurs. I think what good Shark Tank has done is democratized entrepreneurship. Now every Indian wants to be an entrepreneur. Okay, that is a one big.
एक want जगा दिया उधर.
हाँ,
कि
उन्होंने
हम भी
want
कर सकते
जगाते
हैं.
मैं ये कर सकता तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. मैं अचार बनाती हूँ तो मैं भी बना सकती हूँ. So I think that's a great opportunity for the ecosystem.
इतना सच नहीं बोलना था. But I think this has been really insightful, and I want to continue having
Brilliant.
such conversations
It was
with
indeed
you.
a pleasure, Divyansh, and
Any final thoughts? So, any final thoughts on the entire thing, or any advice?
one final advice: if you are someone who want to do a startup, stop thinking and start doing it. करने शुरू कर दो, आज से करना शुरू कर दो. After you hear this, just start doing it. Okay, and trust me, if you can give 3 years of your life, you will never look back. If you can't, but still you will not repent that I never tried. So go for it and do it.
All right. On that note, let's end it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
for
Thank
doing
you.
this.
Thank you.
Our first episode is officially complete.
Thank you, guys.
Let's do this again. All right. Let's wrap this up. ending in 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome to the first episode of 0 to 1 with Mr. Ashish Mittal. We have finally gotten the opportunity to speak with him. Thank you so much, sir, for doing this.
Pleasure.
So, just to introduce him, Ashish is the chief mentor and advisor at Turning Ideas Ventures, which is India's leading growth advisory and investment firm. And to start off the conversation, I think what we were discussing in the previous conversation